Surprise, everyone! Alright, so I think my hiatus between commentaries is just about over, and I'm ready to start undertaking another set. And this right here is the second, I think this is the second tournament that I watched all the way to where it presently is. I can't really say I watched it to the end because it doesn't have an ending yet. This is Disney versus Marvel villains, which is one of the original of the tournaments that was made, but actually not one of the most popular because on the Marvel side it introduces a lot of obscure villains that people weren't very familiar with, including me. But I'm slowly on my way to becoming a Marvel fangirl. I mean, I started by watching the movies of X-Men and the Avengers. I was like, these are good. So then, I start learning a little more about the comic backstories, and I wouldn't call myself a full-fledged fangirl yet. I get things wrong. In fact, I still don't have everyone's name down. So to avoid anything embarrassing, I have a little legal pad right here where I have written down the names of everyone who is competing in this round so that I do not mess up and look embarrassing, like that one time that I couldn't tell the difference between Alpha and Bishop in Disney versus non-Disney villains. So a couple things before we get started. One is that it's been a really long time since I've seen these, and I'm not as familiar with them as the Disney versus non, which I've watched multiple times for each round. And so I've forgotten some of the events, and because of that, a squee may escape, or me yelling I didn't remember something might escape. But I assure you, I have seen all these in the past. And the other thing is that usually in my commentaries, I give my opinion on the original source material. And I did that a lot in Disney versus non-Disney villains. You might be watching this commentary and not have seen my other commentary. And I'm not going to rehash my opinions on the same source materials twice. I'm not going to say things here too much that I said in the other commentary. But I'm going to try not to reference that as though you already know it. Like I won't say, oh, but you already know my feelings on The Little Mermaid or something. Because I want this to be able to stand somewhat separate. Though I think I can get away with saying, oh, you all know my feelings on Mouse and Ref, because if you're even subscribed to this channel, if you just even look at this channel, I mean, come on. Okay, so some background. GA villain is, oh man, amazing editor. He's just gonna think I'm talking him up. I love this tournament because he shows such passion. He's so good at doing this. So I'm so excited for him being in charge of the CGI rounds for Disney versus non-Disney villains is because of this. And once you see this, you'll understand. I'm hoping I can convince you. I can sell you on how great he is. He pretty much has all of Disney on his hard drive. Like you will see that for sure. And and he's very passionate about that and about Marvel. He knows all the characters, knows how to use them well. Is just really great, and is a perfectionist, a self-admitted perfectionist. And so when he first did this this series, rounds 1 and 2 were not to his liking after he got to part 2, so he remastered them. And so here we have round 1 remastered. It's better edited, and some of the original fights, which I didn't see because I started watching this after he did this, were swapped out. So we're watching the good version. And with that, I think we can get started. So we begin with another siege in the underworld. This seems to be a bit quieter. Why does this always seem to happen to Hades? But this time, the intruder is Loki, which makes it really awesome because Loki. Yeah, I'm one of those fans too, though admittedly, I like the Tom Hiddleston version better. The GA has said this version is a compilation of the intellect and gambiting ability of the one from Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and the charm of Tom Hiddleston. So we get the best of both worlds here. It's actually kind of funny that he's invading the underworld with frost giants, because, okay, I recently got this headcanon. I'm really into mythology of all sorts, particularly Greek. And here's where Loki fakes his death. So Hades thinks he's rid of him, but he's really not. Anyway, you know, the original myth of Heracles, Heracles is conceived because Olympus is eventually going to be, oh man, Dr. Doom, what are you trying to be the Horned King there with that goblet crushing action? And I'm trying to make this quick. Heracles was conceived because there was going to be an assault on Olympus that was even bigger than the Titans. There's these mysterious giants that come from nowhere. And so then I got this idea, like, what if those were the frost giants? And what if the invasion was Loki? And that has kind of been my headcanon ever since. So now here we have Frollo versus Dr. Doom, which GA has this long and involved backstory about how, like, their families hated each other and Frollo persecuted Von Doom's parents. Now, keep Loki and Von Doom and Hades in mind, because they are 3 of the 4 principal characters in the entire tournament. Okay, here we've got Jafar versus Mandarin. Mandarin's got his rings on. That's gonna become a bit of a plot point later. I suppose I might as well bring up the whole hullabaloo about the casting of Ben Kingsley as Mandarin in Iron Man 3. Since I wasn't really familiar with Mandarin that much, besides this tournament, I don't really have an opinion on that. I can't say. I know I made a reaction at the time, and the rings are scattered. Scattering the plot devices. So, I know I said something at the time, either, oh, it looks good, or oh, it looks bad, but now I've kind of mellowed out to having no opinion on it. Clayton versus Kraven the Hunter, which, you know, is a brilliant matchup, really. I don't think there's any getting around that. Oh, Clayton, must you fall for this one? And he falls for this one. Literally. I didn't even realize I made that pun until I'd gotten there. And for our final fight of the first round, we have Atuma versus Ursula. Makes it kind of interesting that 3 of these fights have the same Disney opponent as the first round of Disney versus non-Disney villains. I don't know, that's just for comparison. Not that I have really a point to go with that. Sometimes I just say stuff. And I want to say, you wouldn't want to mess with me, but honestly, that quote becomes much more relevant way down the line in part 2. Way down the line. And here we have the Executioner and Enchantress. I really like Enchantress. I think she's cool. I really don't have much to say beyond that. She's just kind of like a classic villainess for the Marvel side. And here we're introduced to the 4th big player of the entire tournament, Maleficent. Is there shipping going on in this scene? Most certainly. Well, I don't know if GA was outright shipping it at this point. He loves shipping, and this is one of his favorite ships. This will become a couple that is important later on. So Jafar and Ursula get together to have a little complaint session. And finally, so we all know that Jafar completely killed and obliterated Mandarin. Or did he? Okay, that was round 1. Let's move on.